You quickly mentioned the EMF piece. What are the things around your home you're doing to nullify that?
Yeah, so I don't use AirPods, right? I use wired headphones if I'm listening to music. So there's a couple of things when it comes to EMF, and this starts to get a little tinfoil hatty for people. So I'll try to keep it as scientific as I can. And I'll just say that when I'm in the States, it's very difficult to control all these factors. But when I'm in my own home, I can control them. And I do almost as an experiment. I like the way it feels when I'm camping. And one of the things that happens when you're camping is you don't have as much radio frequency EMF. So there are different frequencies to electromagnetic fields. The frequency of EMF coming out of your outlet is different. That's called ELF, so extra low frequency. That's also what happens when you have a power line near your house. That's ELF. And you can measure that in a different way. And there's also a magnetic field coming off a power line. What we'll talk about here is RF, so radio frequency EMF. That's a certain band of EMF that comes from cell phones, computers, Bluetooth, microwaves. And interestingly, what's coming out of your microwave is essentially exactly what's coming out of your cell phone or your Wi-Fi router. They're so close, it's not even funny. And I've done the experiment. I have a Wi-Fi meter that I've experimented with. You can put a Wi-Fi meter for the RF band in front of a microwave and turn the microwave on, and the thing goes nuts. I mean, there's a ton of RF EMF coming off your microwave. So if you're still using microwave and you're standing by it, you're getting a lot of radio frequency. Your Wi-Fi router produces this. Your computer produces this. When you have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on your computer, your cell phone produces this. The biggest exposure that we have to RF is our cell phone, hands down. Your Wi-Fi router is contributing, but your Wi-Fi router isn't in your pocket all day. And I think AirPods are potentially very damaging for the same reason, that you're basically strapping a cell phone to your head for hours a day with AirPods, just so you understand that. You're basically strapping a Wi-Fi router to your head. So there's no point in turning your Wi-Fi router off at night if you're using AirPods. It's just not even, there's no point. If you're still using AirPods, that's a big, big contributor to radio frequency EMF going straight into your brain. The thing people always push back on here is that radio frequency EMF is not ionizing, and that's true. If you go into an X-ray machine because you broke your arm or you have shortness of breath, that's ionizing. A CT scan is ionizing radiation. And ionizing radiation is much more powerful, and it's been shown to break DNA. Radio frequency EMF probably doesn't break DNA, but that doesn't mean that it's not biologically active. So that is where I think the conversation falls off, but it should continue because there's many, many studies, and we need better research in this field, but I don't know that the cell phone industry or telecommunications really wants this research to be done. There's a lot of research suggesting that radio frequency EMF can affect biological systems beyond damaging DNA, whether that's certain channels, calcium channels, voltage-gated, channels. The potential for radio frequency EMF to affect biological systems remains real. It's not ionizing. It's not breaking your DNA. It's probably not causing cancer. That's what we worry about with ionizing radiation. But could it affect neurotransmission? Could it affect hormones? There definitely are studies in humans associating the positioning of a cell phone near your testicles with lower sperm counts and overall testosterone, which is concerning. So that's, again, it's affecting a biological system, not in an ionizing manner. And we just don't know. So I would rather avoid that as much as possible. You can either walk around in a literal tinfoil suit. They make EMF blocking underwear now and shirts and beanies and suits, or you can just mitigate it around your house with the first most important input being your cell phone. Understand if you, I don't know if you've ever done this. Do you have an RF meter at your house?
No, I don't.
If you take one of these, and I'll show you what it looks like.
Yeah, I'd like to play around with one, but I haven't.
Yeah, so it's just, it's this, type of thing. It's a handheld device. I could grab my cell phone if we want to do this, but I could just tell you how it looks also. So it's just this little device, right? And you turn it on and it'll tell you what the reading is here. And I don't know where, I'm getting a little bit of a reading because I'm using computers, and this computer I'm using might have Wi-Fi on it. And it's saying it's 700 to 1,000 microwatts per meter squared, probably coming off this computer I'm looking at here because it has Wi-Fi on the computer. That's only on when I'm podcasting. The rest of the time in my house, it's about 0.5 microwatts per meter squared. When I put this up to my cell phone, it goes 300,000 to a million microwatts per meter squared. So your cell phone is usually probably 20 to 30 to 50,000. So I would say 30 to 50 times when I'm looking at baseline here is your cell phone. The same with your AirPods, up to 300,000 or even a million microwatts per meter squared. So you're looking at 30 to 1,000 times higher levels of radio frequency EMF when you are using a cell phone or have AirPods in your ears, or when you put your cell phone next to your bed and all this kind of stuff. So it's a big deal. And we don't fully understand how that affects human biological systems.
And to me, when we don't fully understand something, it doesn't mean we don't know the negative effects yet. But to me, and it sounds like to you, that's enough reason to take caution.
Yes.
Until we do learn. Like, we have to assume the worst until we learn.
Until we learn.
And that doesn't make us tinfoil hat people. It's just like, we care about our health. And until we can feel confident doing something, we're going to err on the side of caution. So
yes,
I'm sure we see it the same way there.
Yeah, we see it the same way. Actually, let me do one thing. I'm going to turn off. So one of the guys on my team had to use the Wi-Fi router to talk to someone to set up the tech here. I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi off because usually there's no Wi-Fi at my house. My house is completely hardwired with Ethernet. I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi off. Okay, we'll check again. So there's still a little bit higher now. So one of the guys on my team turned the Wi-Fi router on. I have multiple different setups at my house, but it's much lower now that I turned the Wi-Fi off. Most of what's happening in my house is all hardwired with Ethernet. My suspicion is that this tablet that I'm using to look at right now has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on in the tablet. So I could probably change that for the next podcast, but the numbers I'm seeing are much lower. But like I said, in general, at night when I'm not podcasting, my house is about 0.5 microwatts per meter squared. And if people want to test, you can get a meter. The only thing I'll say is that the meter is going to make you very unhappy because you're going to see much, much higher levels of RF in your house and around your community than you're hopefully want to be exposed to. And again, we don't know what the biological threshold here is. And so I'm trying to err on the side of caution. And like I said, everything in my house is wired. So I have Ethernet to my computer and Ethernet to my cell phone because I'm just trying to say, look, I have agency over this. Why not live in a very, very low radio frequency EMF setting?
What's the brand of that meter? Because I feel like for me, one of the areas of friction why I haven't gotten one and tested is because there are so many different ones. And I'm just curious, I can't read that. What does it say?
Safe Living Technologies. I have no affiliation with them. The other option is a tri-field meter. And this looks like it's made by Alpha Lab Incorporated. A tri-field meter does all of it. So the benefit of a tri-field meter is that the tri-field meter will also measure magnetic fields as well as RF. So yeah, most people shouldn't be exposed to much in the realm of the magnetic stuff. But yeah, the tri-field is another meter, which will do radio frequency, different units here. So the units on the tri-field meter are milliwatts per meter squared. So it's 1,000 times less than microwatts, right? So this is milliwatts per meter squared. And the Safe Living one is showing me microwatts per meter squared. So it's much more sensitive. There might be a way on the tri-field meter to get microwatts per meter squared. But yeah, either of the meters works good.
To recap, you don't use the wireless headphones.
Yeah.
Wired in with your internet and cell phone. You're not using a microwave.
No, not in my house.
Anything else throughout the house that you've done? And then to layer on to that, you mentioned these defense clothing pieces we can get. Do you buy into that and use any of that as well?
When I'm traveling in the States, I will wear like EMF blocking underwear. Who knows if it does anything, but yeah, I mean, I got tinfoil underwear, guys, not a tinfoil hat. I mean, I'm trying to protect my nuts. When I'm carrying my phone on my person, it's always on airplane mode. I'm not going to put my cell phone in my pocket on regular mode. You know, we could do it if you want to test it. I could show you my cell phone and turn the cell signal and the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth on, and you'll see it go to 300,000 or 600,000 microwatts per meter squared. And again, we don't fully understand what the threshold is for actual biological effect and what's negatively affecting us as humans. I think it's just the better side of caution, like the better part of valor to minimize this. Not sleep next to your Wi-Fi router. I mean, who needs a Wi-Fi router at night? Turn it off. Don't sleep next to your cell phone. Turn it on airplane mode as much as possible. do you want to be giving your 2-year-old a cell phone with tons of RF for them to like hold on to all day? Your iPad that you're giving your kids has a ton of RF coming off it. We don't know. We just don't know how these things affect us as humans. It's pretty interesting.
And then again, to extrapolate what I said before, because we don't know is reason enough to take caution. And you could extrapolate this to many things that I'm sure you and I do, whether it be, showering with a shower filter or filtering our air at home. There is so many different pieces, and there is science to back some of it up, but also we're just piecing it all together and erring on the side of caution until we continue to learn. And then we can solidify what we're doing or throw it away if it doesn't work.
That's just being cautious and informed as a human and not wanting to put your head in the sand. I agree with you. You mentioned shower filters. I don't have to worry about that in Costa Rica. The water at my house comes from a mountain stream. It sounds idyllic. It kind of is. But so there's no chlorine. There's no fluoride in my water here. When I drink water, which is rarely, I usually do fruit juice or milk. I will use a reverse osmosis filter and remineralize. So that's the water piece. But yeah, I think a shower filter is hugely valuable for humans. If you're living in a place that puts chlorine in the water or fluoride, I just built a pool in my house, which I'm really excited about. And I was able, even in Costa Rica, to put an ozone filter on the pool. Or an ozone generator. So there's no chlorine in my pool either, which is kind of cool because I won't even go in pools that have chlorine. I just hate the way it smells. I was recently this is in California, and I went to a wave pool for surfing, and they chlorinate the water. So I'm surfing in a wave pool, which is cool. I get these sort of perfect waves, but the pool has chlorine in it.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch the full episode. I'll see you over there.
Excess linoleic acid in the human diet leads to excess linoleic acid in human cell membranes. And that creates an oxidative liability for us. It puts extra stress on the body. It's sort of like having extra dry wood around your cabin in the mountains and always running your wood burning stove.